My goal this year is to not have to buy any greens from the grocery store. So I'm working on extending my season not just outdoors, but by growing indoors as well. Now typically I do sprouts and microgreens through the winter, but I wanted something a little more substantial. Lettuce and chard and spinach and mustard and those types of things, more in a full-size leaf. So I started off trying 3 different indoor growing methods, and I wanted to share my progress so far. Now my first method was a splurge. I'm trying out an Aerogarden, and the model that I got was the Harvest Elite Slim. It's an all-in-one home hydroponic kit, and they've made this thing essentially foolproof. Assembly is pretty straightforward, the instructions are easy to follow. It doesn't take much to put it together. There's a fill-to line for the water level. It comes with handy little pre-seeded pods, or you can buy blank ones and seed your own. And it comes with the liquid nutrients that you use to feed your vegetables. So you set the whole thing up. You program it with the time, you select the type of vegetables that you're growing, and that will calculate the number of hours that the light is on. And you turn it on, and that's it. It will let you know when it needs fertilized. I believe it lets you know if the water line gets too low. It's all automated, and it works awesome unless you have a husband who tends to keep unplugging your kit, and then you have to reset it and start all over. The kit features a 20-watt LED grow light, and something I found interesting was that the lowest setting, which was I believe the flower garden, has the light on for 15.5 hours, all the way up to, you can do like a 24-hour setting. So I chose the lowest for my greens, again at 15.5 hours, but that's a lot longer than my outdoor growing greens would typically have sun exposure. So I found that interesting. So the next kit I decided to use was my old standby seed starting kit. I wanted to see if I could do something similar on the cheap since I already had all of the components. I've talked about this seed starting kit in other videos, but it's a really simple setup. So basically you've got a styrofoam tray that you pop grow plugs into, and these are soilless grow plugs. You fill the bottom tray with water so that your styrofoam and your plugs float on the water, and they're able to draw up as much moisture as they need. And then you sow whatever seeds you want into the pre-dibbled holes. You pop on a clear cover to act as a humidity dome to help speed germination, and put it under lights. Now the light that I'm using is again one that I just purchased with this kit, and it is a full spectrum fluorescent light. And I set this light automatically for 12 hours of light a day, which is closer to what my seedlings would be getting outdoors. And now once your seedlings are up and growing, much like the hydroponic kit, you just add liquid nutrients to the water in this one to help feed your seedlings. And lastly, to attempt growing greens on the super cheap, I tried the old 2 solo cup method. So this one couldn't be cheaper or easier. You take 2 plastic cups, you drill a hole for drainage in the bottom of one and fill that one up with soil. I then took the second cup and added some pebbles to the bottom so that my first cup wasn't standing in water, and then planted that up with lettuce seed. I used a clear plastic baggie as a humidity dome, and then set the whole thing in a sunny south-facing window. Now it's important to note we're at the shortest day length of the entire year here in the Northern Hemisphere. So from sunrise to sunset, we're at about 9 hours. So my solo cups are getting significantly less light than either of the other growing methods. So exactly 1 month later, how did all of these growing methods size up? So first is the Aerogarden, and let's be honest, this is kind of amazing. I have been really impressed by this thing. It's totally worth it if you have some spare change lying around and are a total beginner to indoor or hydroponic growing. It's a great kit. As I mentioned before, the whole system is automated. It tells you exactly what to do and when to do it. The only thing I will say is lettuce or greens are not the most difficult of all the vegetables to grow indoors. So I am going to try some fruiting vegetables, some tomatoes and peppers with this thing the next time, and see how it does with those, because that will be the real trick. So be sure to stay tuned for that video. So the second kit, I love this one for seed starting, but you can see it's pretty far behind the Aerogarden in terms of how quickly these leaves are sizing up. Now this would be great if you wanted to cut like baby green sized lettuce, but I was hoping for full size lettuce. So I think I'm gonna make a few tweaks and see if I can't get this one up to par. I'm gonna play with the system a little bit. I wanna get this thing fitted with a full spectrum LED instead of a fluorescent, see if that helps, since that's what the Aerogarden is using. And then I'm gonna leave this light on for 15.5 hours a day also, and see if the extra light will help speed that maturity as well. But overall, I think this does show some promise, especially for growing leafy greens. And finally, this is my sad excuse for lettuce. As you can see, my solo cup experiment was a failure. I am just not getting enough light, even in a south-facing window, through the winter months to successfully grow greens. I think this would probably work fine with some supplemental light, like if I maybe just threw it under the same grow light that I was doing with my seed starting kit, or if you live in a place where you're getting a little more sunlight through the days, this probably would work. But for me here in the winter, this is just not going to be a realistic growing method. So I'm going to continue trying different methods and seeing what works, but definitely let me know if you have an indoor growing method that works really well for you, in particular for growing salad greens. Please let me know. I would love to hear some suggestions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.